turntable, I don't know. Hello, gang. I want to just ask you, does anybody have any handwritten questions? Janet's going to walk around right now and gather your questions. And if you could finish up your passport to prizes, we're going to call the winner in a few more minutes. No, leave the, yeah, that one. So you sit right here.
Okay, does anyone have any passport?
The bag for the passport to prizes is on the registration table. There's a, Janet has the bag. Please put in your passports with Janet, and please give Janet your questions. And let's try to reconvene. And you are welcome to stay here afterwards and talk with each other. We really welcome that.
Did you go to the questions and cards that are going to send at the table so that you want to pick them up? And then anyone have Dr. Levitt talked about it? No, you have to do it this
Right, exactly. It's actually, yeah. I'm not pointing it at us. Wait, that is the wrong way. Yeah.
That I should know. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm going to ask everyone if you could kindly take your seats. And I'd like to invite up to the stage Valerie. Hi, Valerie. Can you come up here? And Heather. I think Heather's here someplace. Did you get it? Is that okay? Katie Golden still here? You can come sit up here with us. And we've got Jen, and here's Heather. Thank you. Is Dr. Yu gonna, Heather, do you know? I don't know if we're going to have Malcolm.
No.
Okay, Malcolm had to leave. So I'm going to introduce to you Janet Carew, who is on the board of Miles for Migraine, and Janet is a retired nurse at UCSF Headache Center. I'm sure some of you know her. And she is going to read off our questions, but I don't know how many we have. And then we're going to do the drawing for the winner.
Okay, so I only have one card with one question. Are there any other questions out there? I can bring the mic to you. You don't have to write them down. Should we do it that way? We'll do the one that I have on the card, and then people can just raise their hand as they think of questions. Okay. So I'm not sure who to address this one to. Probably the whole group. Do we know of any migraine hotline phone numbers? Not really a chat room. So I think they're looking for. Yep. I thought you might know this. You have that?
The National Headache Foundation does have a 24-hour hotline. And honestly, that's about all I know. But it is phone-based, not like a support. And so, sorry, that's all that I know of. But I don't think that there's anybody else that has like a phone call.
So definitely the hotline. It sounds like that's different. I don't know about that one. So that's one resource. And then one slightly different is, I don't unfortunately have it on me, but if you Google Montefiore's, like the headache center, the Montefiore, look at phone meditation. They actually have it specifically for migraine, and it's free. You call in, and it has a whole bunch of different relaxation and meditation and support, kind of like talkative support. They're all recorded, but you can press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish, and there's a lot of different kind of supportive and meditation. They're free, so it's nice for people who don't have internet and phones, or phones, I mean internet and kind of apps and stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't know about those. I'll have to add those to our list of
I'll
resources.
email it to you guys.
Okay, raise your.
Repeating
Sorry?
that name. Yeah, please.
Montefiore, Montefiore. Gosh, I feel like I'm on the spelling bee. Montefiore.
That is good.
She just likes
to say it.
Excellent. And the other one was the
National Headache Foundation. Their website actually is headaches.org.
Okay. Just raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll come over to you.
Hi. Thanks everyone for presenting today. It was really awesome to come and have you guys give us some pretty valuable information. My question is, Smiles for Migraine. I mean, I'm Australian, so of course I haven't heard of it. But how active are you guys from a advertising and events standpoint, not including the race?
In terms of our marketing?
Yeah, like in San Francisco.
Well, if we had more money, we would be way more active on that. It all comes down to funding. So we actually spent our budget on this event in particular. We had a high Facebook spend so we could get the word out, but it's definitely something. We're a nonprofit, so we have a limited budget as to how much we can advertise.
And outside of the race, is there like physical things that
Other activities that we have? Well, actually, that is what we were planning. That's really what our mission is to grow this community and make this community a year-round community for all of you to partake in. So we did have the migraine community group that grew out of this education day back in Philadelphia 2 years ago. We brought it here to San Francisco. We would like to expand it. We would like to have it ongoing all the time. And we also are trying to get a meetup group going, an informal social event, and we'll be announcing in April a do-it-yourself advocacy event that anybody can take place in, and we'll be announcing that shortly. It's believe me, we wish we could do more, and that's what we're really trying to do. Hope I answered your question. Okay.
We've come a long way, though.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
We came.
Yeah,
our first
Eileen
race in San Francisco.
Eileen brought us the first race in 2008.
How many races did we have last year?
We had 12 and we'll have 18 this year.
City. So that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive growth,
Yeah.
actually. Very impressive. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you, Eileen. Any other questions? Uh-huh.
This really isn't a question, Shirley. You can relax. My name's Ken Jones. I'm the treasurer of the organization. The point that I would like to make about Miles for Migraine is it's an awareness raising and a community building and a fundraising organization. The recipient of the funds are the training centers for migraine doctors around the country. That's the people who get the money, and the reason for that is because there aren't enough migraine doctors, or there aren't enough headache doctors. So that's in terms of the fundraising part of Miles for Migraine. The beneficiary of that is indirectly research, but more directly the academic medical centers which train doctors to be migraine or headache doctors. So that's just FYI, everyone.
And we could always use your support and donations.
And just this past year, our proceeds last year for 2018, we donated $300,000 to those fellowship programs.
So show up at the race, folks. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we definitely need your help.
Follow the social media so you can retweet and share.
Yes, thank you, everybody. This has been wonderful. And I asked this morning to Dr. Levin, and he said to ask again this afternoon about the Curable app, because I'm quite excited about it, and I know UCSF has had at least one patient with a lot of success. So if anyone would like to talk about it and mind-body science in general, I would love to hear, because it seems such a great new frontier.
Yeah, we love to when people can use something at home, because sometimes it's difficult to come in somewhere, right? With transportation and difficulties driving, it's very good to have some resources at home. So I like Curable application. It's very friendly looking application. And we do have very good feedback from our patients. So definitely, if it's helpful, I do have someone mentioning that they felt that they were little bit on judgmental side, that it's all in your head. But most of people did not feel it. So I have maybe one or two people mentioning that. But I don't think that's the case, because majority of people like Curable application.
What is a track?
So Curable is an app that is basically for patients that experience, or people who experience chronic pain. And it's based off of neuroscience education, mindfulness meditations, brain retraining, and expressive writing. And I have many patients that use a Curable app, and I actually use it myself because I won't recommend something that I haven't vetted. And I think it's fantastic. You know, with the Curable app was developed for chronic pain conditions. It can be helpful for migraine, for the management of migraine. But I think what it was intended for was like fibromyalgia and chronic low back pain, where there isn't necessarily a specific like medical intervention that's going to make a big difference in how those folks feel. I haven't had anyone that has had a negative reaction to it, and you know, I think it's definitely something that can be helpful, because it puts the power back into your hands of understanding what contributes to your experience of pain, and also gives you strategies that you can use on a day-to-day basis to manage your experience of pain. And if you don't want to buy the app, you can go to Like Mind, Like Body. Those are the free podcasts, because they have international experts that they have interviewed on how to manage chronic pain.
Should I answer the question? Excellent. Is there any question?
I don't know who this is for. The understanding that the money that Miles for Migraine raises is going towards educating physicians and fellows. Does that mean we should be advocating for a change in medical education as well as what we're also advocating for? Because it seems like this should already be part of how people are trained, rather than what we're spending our money on, because this isn't very much money.
Well, the issue is much larger than this. Actually, the issue goes back to that we don't have enough headache specialists. And the reason we don't is because migraine is a stigmatized disease, normally not something that that doctors decide to go into. And so that's one reason for the shortage. We give our funds to the fellowship programs because part of training a doctor is that they do research. And so our money goes to their ability to perform research. Sometimes it goes to their salaries, because take here at UCSF, they haven't had a headache fellow in, 2 years, because of the lack of funding just for for that doctor to have that salary, but should we be advocating for that? Possibly. I think the bigger issue is that we just have to make as much noise as we can about migraine in general and bring more awareness that, yes, this is a disease that requires good medical care and that we should only have less than 500 specialists for over 37 million people. So it's a good question. I don't think there's a right answer, though. Sorry. If you want to comment.
I just wanted to comment on positive change in the field. We have a lot new therapies, and with these new therapies comes much more interest in the field. I'm very happy to say we will be having fellow next year, and we already have fellow lineup year after that. So we will train more headache specialists, and even general neurologists, they come into headache clinic with interest and they want to know what we're doing, they want to know how we're doing. So awareness is definitely coming up. So we are happy about it. But research funds, and that's one of topics of our advocacy, it needs to go in NIH levels also up. So it's a lot of advocacy because we do not have treatment which would be answer to everything. So right now we're trying to combine different treatments and different therapies. We would love also to know what signs person has that this treatment will be good exactly for this person. So it's a lot more research in this direction. What therapy do we use for certain types of migraine people? So, because not everyone's migraine is the same, of course. And about vertigo, someone was asking earlier about vertigo. A lot of research to be done, migrainous vertigo. A lot of research to be done about other non-pain syndromes. So we do need a lot more advocacy because we need more tools for our people with migraine.
I wanted to add, thank you. Yes, and I love how passionate you are. Most headache specialists are very passionate because we're a special population. But I wanted to address, Rebecca, your question about medical teaching, training medical. So in med school, students get 4 hours, an average of 4 hours of training in headache medicine in 4 years. You have 4 hours. So how many of those, that's at the med school level, and so then how many of those people are going to be general practitioners, gynecologists, who else, that are going to actually be the ones who see a migraine patient or somebody who has migraine first? So the fact that they get only 4 hours is ridiculous, and it's something I actually just had a conversation earlier, and it's something that I would love to do to help, try and go into, either med students or residents to really get them to have the patient interaction and understand why it's important. But I also have to learn to say no and spend my time wisely.
So I can definitely support fully that statement. I actually got involved right now with 3 students program at UCSF, and I have first time we brought PICE student to headache clinic. So this will be person who will be following up. Not the student who gets this half an hour and we don't see them again. They will be there and they be following and they learning about headache and they express a lot of interest. So that I was very happy to see this change. We had this first day this last week. So it went very successful.
Yeah, the more noise that we make and the more we advocate as patients, the more that we're going to bring migraine into awareness. When that happens, the stigma reduces. When that happens, the doctors that are in training say, oh, that's an interesting field. I will go into that because maybe I can help patients. Right now, that we have newer medications on the market, it is kind of a draw, but we need more treatments. This is not enough. We can't stop here. We have to keep going. So I'm going to transition to another question. We can take one more question so we can leave here on time today.
I wanted to ask about the
stimulation devices, and if anybody has opinions on which ones are better, I have a Cephally that I've been using for maybe about 6 months, and I have to stop using it for a few weeks when I get Botox. But so is it a cumulative effect? And if anybody just wants to talk about that generally, these stimulation devices and how effective you think they are. Yeah, I love talk about those, so I stand up for this also. This is new era in headache treatment. So we finally getting to something which doesn't cause a lot of side effects, but it can be effective. In the past, people would have to go through neurosurgical procedure. And we have people flying across the country and going to UCSF, and you would have battery here, you would have leads here, and we would spend hours tuning up device. And it's maybe work, maybe not. Right now, it's wonderful. If you don't like it, you put it in the box and ship it back. If it works, it's great, because most likely you don't have side effects. We do think that they're great additional therapy. So for Cephally, Cephally is electrical device. It normalizes brain electrical potentials. It brings them from up, it brings them from down to normal. And it's approved for both recently by FDA for acute and preventive migraine treatment. As all preventive, it's cumulative. So acute, yes, we would like it to work. Even if it brings couple points down, I'm happy. Maybe it spares you some as needed medication, which will make it easier on liver, kidney, and decrease medication overuse headache. We don't like this term. We like medication-driven headache. So, yeah. So transmagnetic stimulation, it's magnet. It's been used for mood treatments for very long time, but stimulation was different. It was repetitive. We use single pulse transmagnetic stimulation. We love that mental health already use it for a long time. We know it's safe. So they have huge safety data. So we're very happy to try that, and for acute and preventive again. It was previously thought to be very powerful for something like auras, because this magnetic field is supposed to stop this wave of excitation going through the brain. But right now, FDA approved for all types, and we're using it for all types. And it can be helpful. Nothing is perfect for everyone. So we really, I do believe everything very individual, but it's really, we do see people for whom it helps. And then we have gamma core. So gamma core was initially approved for cluster headache. And recently it's approved for as needed migraine treatment. And we use it. And again, you have choice between devices. There are special circumstances in life when you have very few choices, like, for example, someone who breastfeeding. So having devices really helpful for mom and for babies. And it's a lot of examples like that. So I just love that we have more and more choices. But it takes time to get to preventive effects from anything. So it's usually 3-4 months to see preventive efficacy on the right doses.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Regans. All right, we're going to have to stop questions, but I'm sorry. We are going to, now the moment you've all been waiting for, the winner, which I'm going to ask Janet to walk over to Heidi Brem. Raise your hand, Heidi, to do the drawing, because Heidi is one of our stellar volunteers. She's been helping us out with a lot of things behind the scenes. And I also want to thank Mary Ann today. Mary Ann, raise your hand for all your volunteer work. Thank you. Just make sure that they've had all of them signed.
Okay. Margaret Lansborough, raise your hand.
Margaret! Okay. So, Margaret, if you'll see me, I will give you a code for free registration to our walk, run, or just relax. You do not have to walk or run. You can come and relax with us and advocate, because the only way we're going to get a cure is how? We have to show up, right? We have to advocate. We have to show up at a live event. And I'm going to ask Eileen to come up and a few last parting words for us. I want to thank all of you and everybody else who's already left today. I hope everybody took something away today that maybe might be helpful in some way. And I just want to finish by saying that our slogan for this year is participation and education for a migraine-free nation. And that's what you're going to get on your t-shirt when you come to our Walk, Run, or Just Relax this year. And I hope that you will do our survey feedback, which will be coming to you probably by Monday. And again, thank you to our sponsors, and I would like Eileen to say a few closing words.
Just a very, very few. Thank you for being here all day. Give yourselves a hand. In there. Did anybody get at least one thing that maybe might improve their life a bit from this day? That's good. And finally, just so you're not in doubt, if you're not sure if you're a member of the Miles for Migraine family, you are part of the Miles for Migraine family. So we hope to see you again. Thank you for coming.